Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release. Now's your chance to let me know which games in 1981 we haven't seen yet. We're closing out the end of 1981 with all the other games in alphabetical order, and so if there's any games we haven't seen yet, let me know before we finish the year. We last left off with Cattle Roundup, which we unfortunately didn't get to load, or maybe fortunately, so I showed some of the gameplay footage here on the far left side, not missing much. However, I did want to re-rate one of the games from last time. Castles of Darkness, I gave 4.5 stars because I was amazed that it was an animated adventure game, the first that we'd seen, and so after playing it a little bit more, it's a very good adventure game, but it is not in the realm of like the best game you could play at the time. So we're going to just bump that down to 4 stars. Still amazing, still excellent, but it had me getting vibes of King's Quest, but it was not that. You can't control the character. It is awesome that it has animation with an adventure game, but we're going to say 4 stars for Castles of Darkness. As far as Cattle Roundup, oh yes, it stays the same. We're still 2 stars for Cattle Roundup, the best of the bad. And with that, let's press forward and see what our next game is. We're now going to the Atari home computer, and this is Caverns of Mars. Let's check out Caverns of Mars. Here's the box front, and this one was actually released first by APX, and it was so good it got snagged up by Atari. And you can see here, this is the box that I believe is the 1982 or 83 release box. And if we flip it over to the back, they kind of made it into a headline: the Atari Daily News. Mars declares war. Terra Force surrounded. Helicon fighter invades Caverns of Mars. So really cool idea for the box there. There's different boxes, and if we look at the artwork, this is the example of 2 different ones. And the original, that's the one we're going to play, is the APX version. These other ones, these other boxes are released later, but this will be all the Caverns of Mars. Well, they're all pretty much the same game. And there's the back of the front of the box, and then the other one, the normal, you can see they're showing the Atari 5.25 disk drive, or the 810. Mars has attacked Terra. With one solar day, a deadly fusion bomb will be launched and Terra will be destroyed. You are Terra's only chance of survival. We're always the only chance of survival. That makes the best way to have people come on and take care of business. And there's an example of the ad. An Atari 800 home computer and father's love combined to help children everywhere. And this is the example of the programmer, Fernando Herrera. He was the grand prize winner of Atari's software acquisition program with this, Caverns of Mars. So way to go, Fernando. And I believe, yeah, there we go. We got a cassette tape version as well. So the very first, the game we're going to be playing now in 81 is the version by APX. Greg Christensen. So wait, who is Herrera? Oh, the ad must be for a different one, and then they just happen to have Caverns of Mars. Okay, yeah, because the original was done by Greg Christensen. Want to make sure we get the developers correct here on the channel. So let's take a look at the manual. There's actually 2 different manuals as well. This is the later release that gives you a little bit more information about Caverns of Mars. Into the perilous depths, the invasion begins. Great artwork for the manual. You can see they put a lot of effort into this one, which means we already mentioned before the APX, or Atari Program Exchange. It's hit or miss sometimes because they're letting anyone and everyone program to give some software for the Atari computer. And so this one must have been very good for them to go this far and have so many different releases. Mars has declared war on Terra 4. And then you see this is kind of a split between the manual, but they give it a little bit of lore on how to play. You load Caverns of Mars into your home computer and then plug the controller in. The Atari joystick plugged in, and then Caverns of Mars includes 4 skill levels: Novice, Pilot, Warrior, and Commander. And you can see they even explain the difficulty levels. If you have Novice, you only can play a couple levels, and then and they say levels. Yes, finally, not what were the other examples they gave before? We're talking about the arcade games. I always want to call them levels, but whenever you look in the manuals for some of the arcade games, they have stage. They don't have stages. They have different names they call for the different waves of levels. But you can see the difference there. And then your mission is sabotage the Martian defense system by activating their deadly fusion bomb. Once activated, the bomb will level Martian headquarters with a matter of seconds. So unless you reach the surface before time runs out, you'll be destroyed along with the enemy. Oh, boards, I think, was one of them. Yes, thank you. So to choose skill level, you do the option. You push that on the Atari computer, and then you can also pause the game. So great information there. And then for mission briefing, This explains the screenshot of the game. You have a score counter at the bottom, what level you're on, how many lives you have left, skill level, and then fuel, which I'm going to say they're going to base that on time. Your mission is not as easy as it may look. You have a limited amount of fuel for each life and lose a life whenever your fuel supply runs out. Crashing into a cavern wall or a Martian object also costs you a life. Looks fun. So before you start your mission, it lets you know about the Martian cavern defense system. So they're explaining everything on the screen, what your space fighter looks like, your laser torpedoes, your fuel tanks, transmitters, Creon rockets, Paizia's rockets are fuel tankers designed to fuel the enemy, I guess. Then we also have laser gates. You have to torpedo. Oh, no effect at all. You have to have some way to open them, or they open at random. Then we also have space mines, fusion bombs, refueling, base levels, and then after survive the laser gates. Now we're going to try this, I guess, on a couple different levels because you can play more levels if you increase the difficulty. Surviving space mines, skipping the cavern levels, and then scoring. Yes, I wonder what that was. Got to have what the score is in 1981. White objects are worth 200 points. Red objects are worth 150. Now, again, I'll preface, if you look at the bottom left corner, this is 1983. This is the newer manual of Caverns of Mars because it was released a few times. We're going to be playing the original before it was picked up by Atari. So a real treat to have the very first one ever. And different versions, you can see, oh yeah, lots of versions here. We got the APX one in 81. Atari got it in 82. And then we have, different alternate versions in 82. We're going to play the original in 1981. Let's pop in our computer and play Caverns of Mars by Greg Christensen, released at some point in 1981. I wish I could nail this one down because it must be good if Atari picked it up after APX was playing it. Yes, there we go. Caverns of Mars. So right off the bat, title screen gives you great vibes of classic Atari VCS. But we're on the computer, which is technically Atari 5200. All right, let's start on novice difficulty and push start. And we're in. So right off the bat, joystick works. Oh, this is just a classic shooter, but it's a different perspective. It's not horizontally scrolling. It's not vertical. It's not a fixed shooter, but we're scrolling down. And it's the very first time we've ever played any shooter doing that. So presentation and gameplay is spot on. It's hitting all the marks in 1981. It's easy to play or pick up and play like an arcade game. And I can even, oh yeah, nice, I can even move the ship around. That's great. Up and down into different places. And then now we have like, full-on actual scrolling. Enemies coming out on the screen for us. And I believe I have fuel that I need to hit there too. Yeah, my fuel level is running out. Oh, wow. I have 2 shots on the ship, so I can kind of place each one, but it is only allowing 1 shot at a time. So in this section, I have to really pace and plan my shots because if they miss, even if they don't, if 1 shot misses, I can't fire off the second shot. I gotta wait for it to end the screen or hit something else. So I gotta have to be a little bit more careful here. But I mean, look at this. This is a scrolling shooter that we're playing in a different perspective, or at least it's scrolling south. And we haven't seen any games like that. So originality definitely got hit the mark there. And it plays great. Controls great. I can just imagine having the Atari controller in my hand and playing this, which it has a slightly simple graphic feel like the Atari VCS, but just plays a little bit better because we're on the computer. Wow, nice. Okay, so that was just the example of novice, and we didn't even get to the end where the bomb is, but they gave us 2 different scenes, going through the caverns and then a scrolling screen with enemies. Love it. All right, so let's crank it up. Let's go to Pilot Warrior. There we go. Okay, we're going to go to Commander, so this means if we keep going, we can play and see more levels. All right, so resetting again. Oh, now it feels slower compared to the fast-paced enemies coming at us from the last level. Yeah, so this one is pretty cool. Scrolling through the level like this is already impressive enough. And it kind of gives you a chance to get your feet wet, kind of get used to the controls, see how it feels. All right, let's see if we can hit that one. There we go. Now I can move up and down. I'm going to go all the way to the top this time. Be a lot smarter now that I know that only one shot at a time can be fired. There we go. I also don't know how long this phase lasts. But first impressions, though, this is an incredible Atari home computer game. If you're wanting a really good arcade experience, this is up there with the likes of the ones that we see in the arcade. Asteroids, Space Invaders. All right, we're back. Okay, so here we go, getting some more fuel, and oh, that's a cool idea. So the laser, I made it through on the first time, but oh, look at that. That's awesome. Okay, so they're changing the force fields up, and you have to balance the ship. I came in too quickly. That's awesome. Great idea, though. All right, so now we're having to hit patterns. Wow, great idea. Love it. So cool. So as we go down to the end of the cavern, it looks like we're supposed to be getting to where we blow up the... Wow. Okay, yeah. It takes a lot of concentration. Hard to do this while doing the live show and talking about the game. Now, we haven't seen it yet, but I'm getting vibes of River Raid for Atari, because we're having to pick up fuel supplies or shoot the fuel. Oh, this is awesome. Wow, yeah. Another random enemies thrown at us. Did we start over? Wow, we started over at the very beginning. Okay, no, we get to... And we have checkpoints, too. So it's subtle checkpoints, but the fact that they let us start in the different section is amazing. This is one of the first examples we've seen on the channel of a video game that is playing progressively level by level and makes you want to see more, and we saw that in the arcade. Well, I should preface arcade games. We play role-playing games. Of course, you want to see what the next place is or the next level is. But, oh man, I want to see more. So it's similar to when we played Scramble or Super Cobra. I want to keep putting quarters in so we could keep going to the next part to see what the next level is going to be. All right, so let's go again with Commander. So you start all the way over again. There is no save feature, but that's pretty typical for 1981. But the originality is way up there. Like, let's not do a fixed shooter. Let's not stay at the bottom. Let's have it scroll down on the screen, and then let's allow obstacles and places for the player to maneuver through. Excellent idea. And, of course, sound effects are there, too. All right, I think this is the crazy fast-scrolling section. And this is also, you got to watch your fuel. Oh, nice. I got 2 hits on that one. I got lucky. Wow, yeah. But I want to be able to see all the levels, so that's why we did the Commander level. But even still, it's a tricky game, but it's... when I'm failing, it's because I know I failed, not because of the game. The play control is amazing. Shots are amazing. Wait a second, I thought I shot that one. Maybe I should stop praising the game, because it's resetting and starting me back where I was at the checkpoint. Every now and then I go back and replay games that we showcase on the channel, because I'm playing the... Dang, I didn't make it through. So you have to start it all the way over again. So whenever you play it, when we're playing it live on the show, I'm only getting a little taste of the game, and so most of the time I'll go back and replay some of the games to get a better idea of it. That's what I did with Castles of Darkness, and I did that with several games. And so there's games that are really good that makes me want to go back and play them more and more. It's not looking good for this run, but this is the kind of arcade game, yes, I would want to replay several times to be able to get better and see more of what's next, because it's not the same thing repeating over and over again. All right, looks like we got it going now, and you see fuel's going down, so I got to make sure I hit these fuel containers as well. So yeah, it's giving me vibes of River Raid, but we haven't even seen River Raid yet. It's not coming out for a while. All right, let's see if I can remember the patterns for all the force fields. Oh, it got me. Okay, amazing. Yeah. So the fact that you have more and more to see for the whatever the next level is really pushes you to play even more of that. So Caverns of Mars for 1981, if you got this on the original APX cassette tape, that is above average for sure. Is it in one of the best games you could play? I'm going to say yes. For the computer, this is one of the best games you could play for the computer. Is it the best of the best? I can't really think. I'm trying to think of anything else we've seen shooter-wise. Originality, though, it's there. It does follow the same trope of arcade games that you are going to have to start over and replay it over and over again. Yeah, so I'm going to say 4.5 stars for Caverns of Mars. Not quite up there to the top, but it is very, very close. All right, with that, let's see what's after Caverns of Mars. What's happening next? So we're, again, on the Atari home computer, and this is Centurion. Not familiar with Centurion, and this is all we got is one screenshot. So no manual, no information. Let's play some Centurion, released at some point in 1981. And there you go, published by APX. So we went from one APX release to another one. And I believe this one is cassette loaded. Yeah, gotta load that cassette. Don't adjust your speakers. If your ears are bleeding, that's just the cassette loading. And there we go. We're in. We got Centurion to load on our Atari home computer. Now, without a manual, I might think we're lost for this one. This one looks like a strategy game, especially with the hex grid, or we're playing some kind of bee game, and this is the beehive. All right, so difficulty level, we can do 0. Sure, I'll do 0. And then input. Okay, so cohort number. I'm guessing it's one of the numbers on the screen. So if I do 9... Okay, so there's 9. Does it have joystick support? So I'm moving the Atari joystick if I get anything. Now, the grid is showing different numbers. If it's a strategy game, you're going to take control of one of the numbers, and then you can move them around and do attacks and so forth. That's my guess if it's a strategy game. We've seen already a few hex-based strategy games. So let's see. Does it work? 8? So joystick support does not work, so it's only with keyboard commands. So if I try... Oh, okay, so yeah, you move each person to a different place, and then you do a different one. Let's do 5, and then move 5. You can see on the bottom left, it has moves, so we're essentially playing a very simple tactical strategy game. To the point that there's really not even information or details on units. It is just you're taking numbers, and the numbers represent your units, and then you move those units to a certain place and then attack. So it doesn't even look like it's 2-player. It looks like it's 1 player against the computer. So very, very simple tactical strategy game. I mean, like bare bones. And we've even seen Strategic Simulations Incorporated have some really good tactical games. So this one is like if a homebrew version almost of a tactical strategy game. I mean, look how simple it is. We're playing on the Atari computer, and there's only 2 colors. It's monochromatic, and then there's no enemies. Or there's no units you can actually see. It's literally numbers for the units. All right, so there you go. That is a very, very simple rendition of it. Do I want to call it bad, though? I'm going to say yes. For all the other games you could have played, you have to be really hardcore strategy to really get into that kind of game. So I'm going to say, considering the other ones we've seen, there's lots of other tactical strategy games that are better. So I'm going to go 1.5. Do I want to go even that bad? Yeah, I'm going to go that bad. It's 1.5 stars for Centurion. The barest bones tactical strategy game you could play in 1981 or ever that we've seen on the channel. And no fault of the programmer, because for me to program, if I think about programming a tactical strategy game, there is so much that goes into it. So props still for the programmer, but for gameplay-wise, doesn't cut it. All right, let's move forward with our next release. All right, we're going to the arcade, and this is Challenger. Let's see what is up with Challenger. So there's our advertisement flyer. We couldn't have given it a better name. Uh-oh, does that mean it's really difficult? Do you accept the challenge? Energy rings approach the spaceship from all sides. You prepare your defense. The moment arrives. You unleash your awesome triple guns and success. A direct hit. But wait, you haven't destroyed the rings, but split them as they continue to approach. You can't take the heat. Get out of the kitchen. Uh-oh. So this is by, at least the advertisement flyer is by Centurion. And I'm a little worried now because we played arcade games that really push the how difficult can we make the shooter. And I'm guessing that's what it is. So you have a super bomb that you can use in the game. That's awesome. You've won the battle, but not the war. And then they give us the information about the cabinet. Speaking of the cabinet, there it is, Challenger, and it is by Centurion. We've only seen about a handful of releases by them at this point. And there's our arcade PCB. They're already slimming it down. A really terrible picture of the control panel, but it looks like pretty simple, left, right, and then one button as the super bomb. Yeah. Oh, it looks like we got, fire, your button, warp, and then bomb. But the controls are just left and right, like the fixed shooters are in 1981. And there's our arcade marquee for Challenger. Oh, we have a manual for this. Nice. Okay, so this is the service manual for Challenger by Centurion. Let's see if they have anything about the game. Looks like we got specifications. We have user information. Maybe that's what will tell us what is Challenger. Whenever you bought Challenger, make sure you have all the parts. And they go through all that as usual. There you go. Challenger is the newest video game to be introduced by Centurion. With its vivid colors, lively setting, it's sure to lure the most ardent player into game action. The game consists of 16 sectors or rounds. There you go. We got another word for it. We have sectors, we have boards, we have tables. That was another one, tables. And now we have sectors of play. Sector 1 begins with the large energy rings floating randomly across the screen. The spaceship must avoid colliding with the rings or will explode into a starburst of brilliant colors. So interesting, it says 16 rounds. I wonder if it's 16 different things then, because after arcade games started to add another level or another screen you'd see, now they're adding more and more. And if this has 16 different screens, that's pretty impressive if that's the case. So the spaceship's protected by a further feature called a warp button. By depressing the button, the spaceship will relocate from the top or bottom of the screen to the opposite side. If the spaceship's in ultimate danger, you release the super bomb that will wipe out all objects on the playfield and add the point value of the objects to your score. Once the super bomb is lost, the spaceship is destroyed first. Only one bomb is awarded per spaceship, or per life. And anytime a colorful space bogey resembling a worm may appear on the screen and proceed to chase the spaceship, if the worm is destroyed by spaceship fire or dodged for several seconds, a clang is heard and the worm wriggles off the screen in a bright red hue of embarrassment. Okay. And they're giving us a lot of information for the operator manual for an arcade game. Look at this. We usually don't have this much text to explain how it works. So if we do need to, we'll refer back to this. So they have even more. Yeah, they have even more instructions. They have the point value for what happens on the rings that you're going to shoot. Oh no, we're already starting with rings. I'm just thinking of Superman 64. We don't need that many rings. Or maybe we do for Challenger. We'll see. So you can use one super bomb per ship. Pressing the warp button just relocates you from the top or bottom or to the opposite side. And then a bonus bug walks across. If you shoot the bonus bug, you link the ship with the nose of the bug? Bonus ships are counted down? Okay, we'll give it a shot and see what it's out. What is up with Challenger? We're in the arcade, and this is Challenger, released by Centurion at some point in 1981. Oh yeah, right off the bat, lots of color, large font, and this is our attract mode. So we're a ship/buggy on the bottom of the screen, and there it is. That must be the worm they're talking about. All right, let's put a coin in and see what Challenger's up. And push and start. Here we go. 3 spaceships left. So that's my triple shot. Oh, let's see. Wait a second. So if I have a triple shot, I can't shoot the worm that's down next to me. Oh, he relocated me to the top of the screen. I wasn't even ready yet. I was thinking I was going to reappear at the bottom. Okay, so already fast-paced. Excellent sound effects. Can I move to the top? I can't. Can I warp? Oh, nope. That was my super bomb button. This must be on my warp. There we go. Okay, so how many warps do I get? Nice. All right, so we're Sector 1. There's that worm. Let's see if I can warp it. Back to this guy. What is this guy? 432. I don't know what he's doing. But we can warp back and forth. Looks like he's just trying to shoot the rings. Can I keep going against the worm? Nope. Oh, man. Advance to Sector 2 with crazy flashing colors. I mean, look at the multicolored rings that are coming at me. There is so much going on. Explosion-wise, do we have another super bomb? No. So I can't use that yet until I blow up, or I use another life, I guess. Can I warp? There we go, nice. Looks like I have as much warps as I can to go back and forth. So it's taking the fixed shooter or the move left and right and shoot, and then just flipping it on its head. Literally, we're upside down, which is again another cool little quip or trip to it. What is this guy doing here? Can I walk past him? So I walk into him and he warps me to the other side, just like I did to another warp. Whoa! And now we're in Sector 3. This game makes me feel like this is what people who didn't play video games thought video games were like. This is exactly what it feels like. It's just mass chaos. Wow. And there's the explosion of my death. Amazing. So now we got another life. Oh, I pushed this. I was too slow on the super bomb. Congratulations, player one. You've the best score today. Record your initials below. Oh, interesting. We do our, look at that very weird red background. I don't think we've ever seen anything that crazy with colors. Okay, originality on the score putting in is pretty cool. Look at that. Love it. All right, let's put another quarter in. We got to play more Challenger. So they didn't go for crazy hard, like at least from the beginning. It starts off where you're not, you don't need to be a professional shooter to play the game. So let's hit that super bomb. Did I get the worm? And they're breaking apart kind of like asteroids into little pieces. But then the ability to flip back and forth is awesome, like that. Love it. And then I can get the worm going. Now I wonder what they said in the manual about putting it on the nose of my ship, or what that means. Like it's coming at me, and my first instinct is to shoot it, but I wonder what happens if you. All right, advancing to Sector 2. If you're just joining us, this is Challenger, released by Centurion at some point in 1981. I can see this happening a welcome home at the arcades in 1981. Man, look at that explosion. It's so big, it's being expressed on the other side of the screen. It wraps around to the other side. And I love switching up the kind of shots you can shoot. Like they're making spread shot is, oh man, spread shot's too cool. It's the new kind of shooting. And then we have different enemies coming in with different patterns. You have to know where they're going to move. But sound effects are top tier for the time. This will make the arcade sound fantastic, along with everything else we've heard up to this point. Yeah, it looks like the guy at the bottom is just my warp for the top. There we go, advancing to Sector 3. And they said there's 16 of these? So look how crazy this is. Oh, there we go, do another super bomb. Wipe them out. Wow, yeah, it's really tricky, but you can use your warp to warp from one side to the other. All right, goes the last spaceship. It's almost like the hyperspace in Asteroids, the whole warp feature, like to get yourself out of a jam. But I mean, take a look, listen to the sound effects, and I can just imagine the bass being really incredible for the time. Do I have another? Yeah, I have one more super bomb. Let's see if I can get this guy down. There we go. No! So I warped onto the guy at the bottom. The blue character warps you back to the other side. So warp on the top of him just, switches it to the other end. Love how you put your initials in. Awesome. Yeah, this would be an excellent addition to the arcade in 81. Okay, last chance going in. 1 credit. Oh, interesting. Is there a 2-player? 2 players. Okay, let me just to see what 2 players. Putting 2 credits in and pushing start on the second. Is it 3? I'm guessing it's alternating play. Let's see if it's 2 at a time. No, yeah, it is alternating. Okay, I was going to get excited if it was going to be a player at the top and player at the bottom. That'd be interesting. But nope, it's just doing the same one player at a time to play. I'm amazed the arcade games don't have as many multiplayer features, because we've seen some great stuff at home with the Atari home computer, 4-player Asteroids and so forth. That it's amazing we're still getting alternating play in the arcade. Another one coming. So I only made it to Sector 3, and there's 16 sectors. And it looks like it's not really changing the look of the game. It's just changing the enemies, at least for the sector-wise. Let's give it a big super bomb. Nice. Very satisfying because this is a mechanic we really haven't seen a lot of in 1981. Just blowing everything up. Love it. Yeah, so the blue guy just warps me to the top. I don't get the countdown, though. But we always could refer back to the operator's manual to see what's up with that. Following pretty much the same pattern. So at first I thought this was the super difficult arcade game, but no, it's just very fun. Extremely colorful, loud. Oh, you gotta be careful on that warp though. You could warp yourself right into another enemy if it's above you. I gotta remember that. Also, gotta use that super bomb. So I'm having to look at top and bottom to make sure before I warp, I'm not going to warp into another enemy or an object. But the constant thumping is just, it's classic. It just sounds like one of the great games that you would play in 1981. Alright, going again, next round. So this guy is going to stop wherever and okay, he's stuck on the screen. So almost like it's, you want to get him placed in a position that doesn't mess you up later. Wow. Alright, so we got 2 spaceships left. Gotta use that super bomb now while I'm thinking about it before I die. Yeah, and they have the asteroids trope, breaking things apart into smaller pieces. Wow, that was close. Oh, right there. Oh, yep, that was it. Oh, you can wrap. Oh, I didn't know that. So you can wrap on either side of the screen. It continues left and right. Gotcha. All right, we're in Sector 4. Here we go. Oh, man. Now what's happening now? We have something else. Another enemy showing up, or enemy type? Oh, he got me. Wow, look at that. And the explosion wraps all the way around to the other side of the screen. Love it. Oh, see, and when I wrap to the other side, there was an enemy over there, so you have to watch both ends. Oh my gosh. No, I couldn't use my super bomb in time. Okay, so last spaceship. At least we got a score high enough where we had another extra life, but that was a waste. And going again. So now we show up to the enemies. Pretty simple pattern. And you can see I warped to the other side since my shots aren't long enough. Okay, so now we're in Sector 3. Oh, I see what we're doing. Because we put another coin in, it's allowing us to play as the second player. And we're alternating back and forth. So I thought it was going to be going further and further. So player 1 gets a bonus one. There we go. Nice. Wow, and there's now super tiny enemies that are coming at me. Congratulations. Well, there we go. That is a great game for the arcade. Is it one of the best games you could play for the time? I wouldn't say one of the best, because it's still following a pretty similar formula as what we've seen before. So for an arcade game, it is above average, but it doesn't really push... it's up there, but I couldn't really say it's doing something like Defender or Donkey Kong or Frogger or those games. Not only have that iconicness of them and originality to them, this is still a bare bones. It's still a shooter at heart. It does have a nice mechanic where you can flip back and forth, so it's above average, but it's still just a shooter. So I don't want to be super hard on it, but it is a blast to play. Great sound effects and works well. I'll go 4.5 because it is one of the best shooters you could play at this point. But we'll do 4.5 stars for Challenger. I love it. All right, so after Challenger, let's see what our next game is. We're now going back to the VIC-20. Another one that's given us some problems with loading. Those darn cassette tapes. All right, so this is Chase, and we have no other information on Chase. For different versions, we have, okay, 2 different versions of Chase by Symbol. We're going to be playing the one in 1981 by Computer Mat. Let's pop it in and play some of the Vic by Chris Rydell. Way to go, Chris. This is Chase. Just Chase. So if it's on tape, I'm going to fast forward a little bit. They found the loading instructions, and then for the instructions, there we go, Chase by Chris Rydell. Chase is a 2-player game. The object is to either chase or to avoid being caught, depending on whose turn it is, but hurry because the winner is chosen by how much time was used. So it's tag. Are we playing virtual tag? There's 10 zip doors spread around in the chase board. If a player moves their man into one of the zip doors, they'll be zipped to the other door. In order to move, oh, it's not joystick controlled. Okay, take a look at those controls. Player 1 uses the left side of the keyboard, and player 2 is using the opposite side of the keyboard if you have a VIC-20 keyboard. So just going to get a layout of the, and it looks like player 1 is the darker one, and player 2 is the white one. All right, so hit return to load, and now we've loaded the instructions, and what they usually did, most of these, you had the instructions on one side of the cassette, then you flipped it over, and that was the game on the other side. So here we go, we're loading to the other side, and now fast forwarding. This is going a lot faster than it usually is. Okay, there we go, and then we want to run that. Don't crash. I don't think it did. Okay, Chase by Chris Rydell. At some point in 1981, and this is player 1 is going to chase player 2. So you would need 2 people, I'm guessing. They're not going to have a computer. And it's building the map for us. Isn't that what usually happens in the background when people are using computers in movies? That's the same sound effects, I think. Okay, so we're on with keyboard controls, and now I am moving as... Yes, okay, I'm using player 1 to move around as the black player. Am I just bouncing around? Or okay, I can... whenever I move one direction, that's it. It just continues to go in that direction. So you go here, and then you chase... Oh, you can even do diagonals? Okay, nice. And then, yes, you won. You touch the other person. If you have 2 people to play with you, someone will sit on the other side of the keyboard. They move the other person around. It's essentially Gotcha. If you remember Gotcha from the arcade in the 70s, it's the same idea. It was a top-down maze. 2 pixels are moving around, and you're trying to chase the other one, and that's it. It was one of those games that we couldn't play because it didn't have a microprocessor inside. So this is one of the examples of a home version of Gotcha, which it was in the 70s. Do we want to play again? I don't know. It would be pretty fun if you had 2 people. So I will give it that. Even though it's a simple concept, it worked in the 70s. And it would still work now, but you can see how simple the graphics looked. Here on the channel, the best thing we look for is how fun it is and how well it plays. So even if it's something that doesn't look very good, how well does it play? And this one was okay. The keyboard controls is a little rough instead of using a joystick. So it's not bad, but... do I want to say, yeah, I'll say 2.5 stars. So it's good, but it's not really, it's still about average. So we'll say 2.5 stars for Chase. And with that, let's see what our next release is. Where are we going and what's happening next? Ah, yes, we are now playing the Sinclair ZX81. And this is chess. If this is chess, this means we're probably going to have to type in the commands for the chess to play, is my guess. Let's take a look at the box for chess on the ZX81. So this is by Scion and Microgen. You have to make sure your ZX81 has 16K of RAM in it. Anything on the back? Yes. So this would have been in a cassette case. And as far as boxes, it would just be the cassette case would be the box, essentially. All right, let's pop it in and play some chess on the ZX81. By Microgen. All right, so load check passed. Okay, good. We didn't crash. Would you like to play a game of chess? I feel like the computer should be talking to us. Would you like to play a game of chess? Yes, we would. Will you play black or white? It doesn't matter if you're black or white. Let's do black. Select difficulty. Oof. A chess game on the ZX81. We'll do difficulty 1. All right, here we go. So ZX81 is us, and it looks like they already moved. So you can see, since we picked black, we're going second. So they already moved a pawn. What is with the... They have IK, rook, king, bishop, knight. Knight is represented by N and very interesting. So it's in the United Kingdom, so I'm not as familiar. I guess maybe they have different names for the pawn instead of P for pawn. But you can see now it's looking for my direction, so I have to know what number on the board to move. Like, in other words, a rook take position 5-6, or whatever it is on the board. So the technical term of the grid name and number to play. So this is one of those games we played before that I would rather play the board game itself, where I just move the piece. And if you're really technical and wanting to play a game of chess, then you would know all the coordinates, but you can see they moved e2 to e4, so I have to type in that myself. So I don't even think I know if I know which one is... Yeah, so I wouldn't even know which one on the grid to move my pawn to a different place, but that's what you would need to know to play this game. So if I go into... Yeah, if I go into it now and try... They did 2 to 4. Yeah, so I would need to know... G 3 to... I don't even know. Yeah, so you have to know the command of where to move the piece. So, that's pretty cumbersome as far as chess goes. But that is essentially how you would play, and how we played lots of versions of chess on the channel. So for someone that would rather play the board game itself, yeah, so yeah, we don't even know the coordinates on the board. Good point. So for this one, this actually would be a very good version of chess to play if you had this on your system. The ZX81 is over in the bottom left corner. It's a very small computer. Essentially, think of it as a large calculator. So to play this would be a very good thing to be able to play chess without having another person there. So I'm going to still give it about average for the time, 3 stars. Because I'm considering all the other games we played chess-wise for the home computer, and we've got some really good versions for the console space, but it's still about average for chess games. Maybe 2.5. Yeah, we'll do 2.5 stars. So it's still around the average range, but it's still difficult to play. But that's how you did it in 1981. 1.5. All right, with that, let's see what our next game is. Oh, it's Chess 2 for the computer VC 4000. So this is the Interton VC 4000 released in Germany. So now we went from the home computer in Europe to the home console in Europe. And we do have a box for this one. So there's the front of the box. This is Schach, which is the German word for chess, or Chess 2. And then also in France, it looks like, for the front of the box. And there's the example of the cartridge. Yes, the sequel to Chess. Chess 2. The sequel. We did play chess on the VC 4000, so this is the second one, and the first version, it's just like the others. Let's see if it even loads up in our first emulator. We always try one because there's two. This is a tricky one. Yeah, it doesn't load very well. It looks like it's busted on that one, so let's try a different one. Different emulator. Here we go. By Interton Electronics. This is Chess, the sequel. Chess 2 in 1981, and yes, it's just like the other one. So if you had a chance to look in the bottom left corner at the VC 4000, it is essentially like the Intellivision. It's a controller with a keypad that you punched in and one joystick on top. So to play this game, you have to punch in on your keypad the coordinates again for the board, and just like the other one, we don't know the coordinates. Well, you may have to just know if you play chess enough, but it's the same idea on this one. So you type in, literally, yeah, it's, darn. Yeah, you'd have to know the coordinates for it, and it's not even showing us the board there. You have to, you can see the example on the far left side, moving E1 to E5, but you don't even see the board. Chess 2 on the VC 4000 doesn't even show us the board. So, yeah, let's go lower on these for chess, because I'd rather play in 1981 the board itself. I know people would want to play against a computer, but it's still, we're going to say bad. We're going back. Yeah, ZX81, I was being generous just thinking of it in Europe in 1981, but it's still bad. So we're going to go 1.5 for chess on the ZX81, and then for the this one, let's just go straight up 1. 1 star for Chess 2, because you don't even see the board at the beginning. You have to memorize and know the grid before it goes. All right, so there you go. Some chess in 1981. Let's see what's next after that. All right, we're next going to the Exidy Sorcerer computer, another very obscure computer in North America. Had no idea it existed until the channel. And there it is in the bottom left corner. It's actually a very powerful computer, but it is black and white. And this is Chomp. We have no other information, no other box for Chomp. We're just going to pop it in and play. Most likely it's cassette tape. Here we go. We're going to check out some Chomp. Released at some point in 1981 for the Exidy Sorcerer. What do we want to do? We want to load. If you think that's a modem, and you're familiar with the modem sound, no, that is the sound of loading cassette tapes on the Exidy Sorcerer. I'm really hoping Chomp is good, because in real time, this would have taken 2 minutes and 4 seconds to load. And you can see we're fast forwarding way faster and getting this up. There we go. We're in. Okay, this is it. Chomp by WS King. Way to go, WS. Oh yeah, Chomp is Pac-Man. Of course it is. Another Pac-Man clone. A product of the Global Software Network. That just sounds too technical. All right, here we go. So how do we move? Oh, thank you. Arrow keys to move. Hey, the game told me. Hitting the key to begin. Oh man, it works. Yes, Chomp works. I'm playing Chomp on my Exidy Sorcerer. If you're that poor kid in 1981 where your parents didn't buy an Apple II and didn't buy an Atari home computer, but they bought you the Exidy Sorcerer, you would be so excited right now. This is the game you would play the most. I mean, look at this. Now, you can tell that the Exidy Sorcerer is powerful because of the resolution, pixel-wise. I mean, look how crisp and clear. I know it's black and white, but look how crisp and clear all of the enemies are. I am moving a little choppy. Oh, man, look at we got cherries on the screen, too. Nice. And we got pretty much the best sound you could get for the Exidy Sorcerer. And look at this. It's Pac-Man. It's Pac-Man for the... It's Chomp for the Exidy Sorcerer. Oh, nope. It moves a little slower than Pac-Man, but it gets the job done. I mean, look at the maze. The layout looks great. And I can't even remember if the Exidy Sorcerer has a joystick or not. Everything else we played at this point has used keyboard. So it's pretty standard. And cool that we can use the arrow keys, too. Love it. Uh-oh. Not looking good there. We'll just go for the last power pellet. Kind of shows you how big Pac-Man was. We've seen already at least 10 clones of Pac-Man, and it's 1981, and this is not the end. Namco themselves is going to release tons of Pac-Mans and versions of Pac-Man, and we haven't hit Miss Pac-Man yet. Shouldn't even exist yet. And we've already had at least 10 Pac-Man clones on the channel. There you go. Oh, that's great. Really cool and obscure version of Pac-Man. So that's Chomp. And for the time, yeah, it's I'd say it's above average because Pac-Man's very new. And so for this one to work and play, I'm going to say 3.5 stars. So it's just slightly above average for the time. Chomp gets the job done. And if this was your computer in 1981, you'd probably rate it even higher than that. So cool. All right, after Chomp, let's see where we're going next. What's our next game? It's Chomper for the Atari home computer. Is this another Pac-Man clone? That'd be really funny. It sounds like it might still be. All right, so for artwork, all we have is an advertisement flyer. Machine language arcade with intelligent monsters. Is it seeing anything on the left side? No, so it's by MMG Micro Software. It is. So we got another Pac-Man clone. For different versions, we have just an alternate one. All right, let's play. By Robert Jager. Way to go, Robert. Released by Micro Software. This is Chomper for the Atari home computer. And I'm guessing controller should work, right? Oh, look at that. They even have a little... see, I feel like this is a programmer just at home, messing around and wanting to make their own game. How much legality was going on right now? Because we've seen game after game being copied, and I don't think there's a lot that's reinforced yet. We did have Casey Munchkin whenever it came out, which was a big lawsuit with Atari because Atari had the rights for the home console. And so this game comes out that looks just like Pac-Man, and the court case hasn't gone through yet. If I remember correctly, it's 2 or 3 years after they started the lawsuit. So from 81, I don't even know if it's passed yet. But at this point, there's so many games that are being copied. If I was at home in 1981, I'd just program my own game and then see if I can get a publisher to release it. All right, here we go. Let's play some Chomper for our Atari home computer. The music sounds so sad. Does it work? Yes, it works. And they're kind of going the route that we saw on the Bally Astrocade with Candyman. They're not really making a maze. It's just a grid. And we're picking up all the dots and that's it. Yeah, this is it. So what kind of artificial intelligence was the advertisement flyer talking about? The enemies look pretty random to me. Oh, no, they're kind of following me, I guess. But it's essentially, I guess, the barest bones Pac-Man you could play. We've seen way better ones on the Atari home computer. And as far as sound effects go, it's pretty standard for the time. But yeah, it just feels more like we're playing the Candyman, or a better version of Candyman, that we just played on the Bally Astrocade. Chomper. Man, Pac-Man was so big. Everybody wanted to be like Pac-Man. At this point, he hasn't got his own TV show yet, but Pac-Man will. Pac-Man still has a TV show now. That's how big he is. Yeah, so the enemies are smart. They're not just randomly moving around like in Hyonkyo Alien or something like that, or Apple Panic. And they have a different movement, like they can move laterally faster than they can up and down. Oh, see, I'm trying to outsmart him to see. I really want to see if there's another board or grid after this, but I think it's going to be the exact same thing every time. Let's see. There you go. Get a smiley face for Chomper. He's just so happy. And yep. Oh, it's faster now. At least Chomper moves a little bit faster. So that means enemies probably move faster. And there you go. Yep. Just gets progressively a little bit faster. As per the use. Also for 1981, very fun. Is it average for the time? I'd say it's about average. 2.5 or 3 stars, and always welcome from the chat. If anyone thinks Chomper should be about average, what would you say, 2.5, 3 stars? Because it's not really going to be pushing above average for everything else we've seen up to this point. But it is like Pac-Man. So if I had this, I would be happy. Play it for a little bit. Oh, there we go. I got a 2.5. Yeah, we'll go 2.5 stars. So still around the average range, just slightly below for Chomper. No one talks about Chomper nowadays. Pac-Man got all the glory. We also have Gobbler. There's so many versions of it. All right, so after Chomper, let's see what our next game is.
Big plans?
Oh, man, this one's a big one. So we've seen this already on the Apple II, and couldn't pin down the exact release for the Atari version. It was still at some point in 1981, but this one is the Chronicles of Osgorth, the Shattered Alliance. Number Muncher was another one, that's right. All right, so let's take a look at the box for the Chronicles of Osgorth, the Shattered Alliance. So if you didn't see the one on Apple II, this is essentially SSI branching out and doing a fantasy tactical role-playing game. It is I think the first one we've seen by them. So because most of the stuff they have is very historical, has significance, and you're kind of like redoing battles from Civil War or World War II or Napoleonic Wars, things like that. So this was the first time they said, you know, let's not do anything that's based on our planet. Let's just make our own lore and story. And this is it. This is their first fantasy game, and it's kind of cool because it's a precursor to what we'll see, which is the SSI Gold Box games when they get the Dungeons and Dragons license. That blows them all away. So there's an advertisement for it. Yep, Atari owners, we've opened up a whole new world for you. And yes, this game is big. I didn't get the manual for the Atari version. We had it on the Apple II. A very large manual, lots of information for it. Yeah, there we go. So there's the example of the 5 1/4 floppy disk for the Atari 800. I don't even think you could play this on the 400. It had to be the 800. And example of screenshot, we're going to see the graphics very much dumbed down compared to the Apple II. So we're just going to kind of showcase this compared to the Apple II, if you saw that episode. So here we go. At some point in 1981, we got the Shattered Alliance for your Atari home computer. Let's go. By John Leon. Way to go, John. All right, so to start, hit return, and yes, it's going to do like it did on the Apple II. Lots of loading. There is a lot that's happening behind the scenes for this game. So I'm going to speed us up There we go. And yep, it's going to load the SSI character set. And there we go. We're in. So what do we want to do? We want to play a new game, watch a game, play a game we've saved, or watch a demo. So for this one, I'm just going to do the demo because you can see what the game looks like and plays like. When we played it on the Apple II, we did do a little bit, but even still, it's a very complicated game like most SSI games. Here we go. So let's watch a demo. Oh, hold on. I didn't go far enough back. Now let's watch a demo. So it's going to load the armies in, and this one is all high fantasy. Every one of the creatures in the game is something from like another world or another time and place, similar to Lord of the Rings. And so you have to know the good guys, the bad guys, and then the whole reason you're playing. There's a whole lore and story behind this one. SSI went all out. And it's kind of cool that eventually they get the Dungeons & Dragons license to play. So this is the roster. So it's showing the one side, left side, and then the right side. You can see we got orcs and humans. It's almost like a precursor to orcs versus humans on World of Warcraft or Warcraft 2. Relax. This will take a few minutes. So I'm going to go make a sandwich. And then when I get back, we'll play some Chronicles of Osgorth. Just kidding. We're going to fast forward. Still going. There it is. All right, so we're in, and here's the demo. So the graphics are only doing black and white. On the Apple II, we saw this in color. But the way it plays is it's using a tile-based with each pixel. And the enemies are taking up, I'm going to say they're even less graphical than we saw on the Apple II. They're represented by just different symbols. And it's a computer playing against another computer, and you pick your unit, you move your unit to a different spot, and then that unit does their attack, range attack, or what have you. Because we have elves in here, dwarves, orcs, humans, and each one has different attack qualities. And you can see they have examples of what their strength is. And over here now on the right side, the orcs are now making their move. So just picture in your mind, in 1981, if you were really into board games and tactical strategy games like Risk or War games, this would be your bread and butter. I would say the Apple II version would be the better one out of the two that you could play, but it still would be a really good time because you could dive in to play something that's giving you not having to calculate everything yourself. For the computer's doing a lot of it. Now, at this point in 1981, it's still slow. We're speeding up and fast forwarding through this, so it still would take a long time. So there you go, battle report, and showing the strength on either side. It's lots of stats and numbers, but that's usual for SSI. All right, so that is the Chronicles of Osgorth, the Shattered Alliance. We just played the demo, and because of the graphics, it's still around the same. It's a much better tactical strategy game than you could play. We gave the other one, Chronicles of Osgorth, very high for the time, but I'm going to go and still go 4 stars. This one's still one of the best tactical strategy games you could play, but not really tipping the tier of getting in the 5-star range. So we'll say 4 stars for the Chronicles of Osgorth, the Shattered Alliance. All right, so we've now hit the C's in alphabetical order for all our releases, and we're going to keep going throughout 1981, playing everything else in alphabetical order. And I do know there's one game we did miss that we will hit on. We did not play Ultima. We played Wizardry, but Ultima is also released this year. And what happened was the game that I had was the re-release, and that was released in 1986. So the first one in 1981 got blended together. They were both in the same game. So I split them apart and realized, oh no, we forgot Ultima. So if there's any other games, so we will play Ultima eventually when we get to the U's in alphabetical order. But let me know if there's any other games in 1981 that you haven't seen yet, just to make sure we cover everything before we end the year. And with that, we'll go ahead and put our whole game playing on pause. And for everything else and all the viewers on YouTube and Twitch, I'm so thankful. Thanks so much for watching. We're having a blast. Finishing out the rest of 1981. We will catch you next time. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we miss any games along the way. This video would not be possible without RetroArch and Launchbox. Please tell your friends there's some crazy guy out there trying to play every single video game. You can always check out Chronologically Gaming on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We will catch you next time.